It was barely dawn when the rumble of a diesel engine shattered the quiet at Willow Lake, dragging me out of bed in my flannel pajamas. I stumbled outside, coffee mug in hand, only to see a tow truck backing down the boat ramp like it was editorialized, chains swinging from its hitch. But it wasn't some junker car they were hauling. It was my Kayaks, two sleek, blue beauties dangling like stolen trophies. I blinked, half expecting to wake up from a bad dream. But there was Lisa Hammond, the self-appointed queen of the Willow Lake Homeowners Association, standing by the ramp, clipboard in hand, her neon Lake Patrol sash glowing like a warning sign. She sipped her iced latte, cool as a cucumber, while the tow truck driver gave me an awkward shrug, as if to say, "Just doing my job, man. I'm Nate Harper, and Willow Lake isn't just my backyard, it's my life." I inherited this stretch of shoreline from my granddad, a man who poured his heart into keeping these waters pristine. I own most of the lake's edge and the rights to its environmental management, a legacy I've carried quietly for years. Things were peaceful until last year when a shiny new VY sound sprouted on the south end, bringing with it Lisa and her HOA minions. Within months, she'd crowned herself president and started strutting around like she owned the place. At first, her rules were annoying but harmless flyers about approved mailbox colors, reminders to keep grass trimmed. I ignored them. Then came the Lake Use Manual, a 40-page manifesto declaring my lake a shared community asset in need of her oversight. She formed a 3-person lake task force with her lackeys, Tom and Cheryl, who took their roles way too seriously, measuring fishing lines and scolding kids for unapproved floaties. I laughed it off until the signs went up. No private kayaks. No unregistered docks. No fun, basically. They even held a ceremony to bless their clunky HOA-branded paddle boats. That's when I knew Lisa wasn't just a nuisance, she was a problem. Things got personal when one of my clients, a retired veteran named Frank with a bad knee, got chewed out by Tom and Cheryl for using my kayak. Frank's a gentle guy who finds peace on the water, and they left him shaken. When I checked my dock later, my kayaks were gone. I thought a storm might have taken them, but my security camera told a different story. An HOA contractor had snuck in at dawn, unchained my boats, and towed them away. No warning, no note, just theft. I marched to the HOA office, a place decked out like a yoga studio with lavender candles and fake smiles. Lisa sat behind a desk labeled Community Harmony Director and handed me a pamphlet claiming my kayaks VY OLAT some obscure rule. When I said I never agreed to her guidelines, she smirked and told me my signature wasn't required. The HOA had jurisdiction. I didn't yell. I just stared, thanked her, and left, my mind already spinning. Lisa didn't know it, but she just messed with the wrong guy. Willow Lake wasn't just water, to might was a promise. My granddad's old conservation agreement gave our family control over the lake's maintenance, from water levels to sediment testing. I called my buddy Sarah, a lawyer who eats property disputes for breakfast. After hearing me out, she said, "Time to show them who really runs this lake." That night, I dusted off the agreement and my granddad's blueprints for the lake's valve system, a hidden gem that let us manage water flow. A plan was born out loud, not angry, but sharp as a blade. By morning, I filed a maintenance notice with the county, citing my right to lower the lake for ecological restoration. Sarah backed it up with a formal letter, noting that lake access would be suspended for safety. It was airtight. I headed to the valve shed, a concrete hut tucked behind the reeds, and got to work. Modern pumps hummed quietly as I adjusted gates and checked monitors, documenting every step like a scientist. By afternoon, the waterline had dipped a few inches, Leah VYing a faint ring of wet silt. Most folks wouldn't notice yet, but I could feel the lake breathing. I posted a sign by the HOA's walking trail, temporary ecological maintenance in progress. Water levels may change. It included a QR code linking to my county filing, all polite and legal. I wasn't looking for a fight, I was looking for truth. But truth has a way of stirring things up. The first to notice was Tom, who stormed up to my porch that evening, his golf shirt stretched tight, pointing at my sign like it was a crime scene. I offered him iced tea and told him to scan the code. His face went from beet red to ghost white as he read the permit. "Does Lisa know about this?" he stammered. "She will," I said. He left without touching his drink. By the next day, the lake had dropped 6 inches, enough to tilt the HOA's fancy floating patio, a brunch spot for their linen-clad crowd. Plastic chairs slid into the shallows, and Cheryl was out there, flailing with a pool skimmer, cursing the mud. I watched from my porch, sipping coffee, as the HOA's perfect little world started to sink. Sarah texted me a screenshot from a local Facebook group. Is Willow Lake drying up, or just fed up? The comments were wild sinkholes, aliens, even a jab at some tech mogul terraforming the county. I laughed so hard I nearly choked. On day 3, Lisa called an emergency HOA meeting under their gazebo, her sash gleaming like armor. Thanks to their new speaker system, I heard every word from a distance. She ranted about sabotage, but Tom, sweating, held up my permit. Lisa went silent, then tossed her clipboard like a toddler. "This is a conspiracy," she shrieked. I added a second sign by their office, complete with a county seal, spelling out my rights. The whispers started. "Drain thief." A kid yelled from his scooter before crashing into a bush. I gave him a popsicle and said, "I don't control the whole lake, just the part that matters." The lake kept shrinking, exposing mud, reeds, and the HOA's mistakes. Their paddle boats lodged in silt, jet skis sat useless on trailers, and the brunch crew canceled their mimosas. I kept working, logging soil samples and water data, VYing this wasn't petty, it was principle. At a chaotic town hall, Lisa spun tales of me as a rogue eco-terrorist, but the crowd turned. "Why'd you build docks without permits?" one guy shouted. "Why tow his boats?" a woman added. Lisa's charm was cracking. Then came her desperate move, a restraining order claiming I was harming wildlife. Sarah laughed it off and filed a counter-motion with drone footage of the HOA's own illegal dredging for their marina. In court, the judge had a no-nonsense woman watched the footage of bulldozers tearing up the lake bed. Lisa claimed it was fake. The judge's glare could have melted steel. "Got permits for that?" she asked. Lisa didn't. The order was tossed, and the HOA faced an environmental probe. The courtroom buzzed as Lisa's face drained of color. The fallout was glorious. Local news ran a segment. HOA turns lake into puddle. Sabotage or science? Online, memes exploded. One showed my kayaks being towed next to Lisa wading in muck. Caption: "From kayaks to chaos in 3 meetings." Residents rebelled, forming a fair lake access group. A teen hosted a Puddle Fest soccer game in the mud. 2 old guys fished in ankle-deep water, one in a shirt reading "Real men fish in craters." The final nail? My wildlife camera caught Lisa sneaking to my pump at midnight, dressed like a budget spy with bolt cutters. She tried to shut the valve, slipped, and face-planted in sludge. She kicked the pump and limped off, furious. I sent the footage to Sarah, who howled with laughter. The county issued a warning for tampering, and when the clip leaked, it went viral. Titled HOA Prez Caught Mud-Handed, it became a TikTok sensation, complete with slow-motion replays and piano music. Lisa was done. At an HOA vote, only 9 showed up. 6 ousted her. She screamed about betrayal at a potluck before vanishing to a gated community far away, still wearing her sash, or so I heard. A new leader, Carl, a chill retired librarian, took over. He scrapped the HOA flag pledge and proposed a co-management deal with me, respecting the lake's natural flow. We sealed it over lemonade and crumbs. I finished the maintenance, clearing invasive snails and eroded banks. Then one quiet dawn, I opened the valves. Water crept back, filling the lake like a memory. Kids cheered as puddles grew. Fishermen returned. Someone played a trumpet, calling it a rebirth anthem. I smiled, feeling the lake heal. A week later, I hosted a dock party, sandwiches, sodas, and new kayaks for Frank. He paddled with his grandkid, their silhouette golden against the sunset. Neighbors came, even old HOA loyalists, swapping stories of fish and freedom. A kid grabbed a stick, mimicking a news anchor. Willow Lake rises again. Everyone clapped like it was Broadway. Spring brought birds, fish, and paddleboat share this time. No rules. Teens painted a sign. Welcome to Willow Lake. Respect the water. Respect each other. No brunch barges without permission. Under the stars, with guitar strums and distant laughter, I felt it. Peace, hard-won and real. I started a blog, Lake Notes, sharing the saga with humor and heart. Readers loved it, asking how to fight their own HOAs. My at VYC, patience, paperwork, and maybe a well-timed drain, just not all at once. So what do you think? Was I a hero for SAVYing the lake or a VY lane for draining it? Should Lisa have been banned for life? Or did she deserve a second chance? Could you stand up to an HOA like that? Or would you play by their rules? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're Team Lake, and subscribe for more stories that'll make you laugh, think, and maybe check your own backyard for hidden valves.